Welcome. This is sixth lecture on group theory. In this video, I will explain the concept of group homomorphism. We will understand this concept with the help of some examples like a homomorphism between group Z2 and Z4, homomorphism between group N and Z2, and so on. At the end of this lecture, we will see one important definition about the kernel of a homomorphism. Okay. What is group homomorphism? We can define group homomorphism like this. A homomorphism is a relation. Let's say the relation is phi from a group G, and this group is defined under a binary operation star to another group G prime, and this group G prime is defined under another binary operation, let's call it dot, such that each element of A in G there correspond to an element phi A in group G prime, and phi A star B is equals to phi A dot phi B for all values of A and B belongings to G. Okay, this is how we can define in a statement. Let's understand it. Suppose we have a group G, and this group is defined under a binary operation star. Okay, and we have another group G prime, and this group G prime is defined under another binary operation, let's call it dot. Then a homomorphism is a relation between G to G prime, and let's say that relation is a phi. Now we need to understand this condition. For any element A in this group G, we must have phi A element in this group G prime. Okay. Now we know G is a group. Therefore, for any two element A and B in this group, we must have A star B in the same group G. Now, due to this relation, we must have phi B, phi A star B in this group G prime. So we are done with this first line. Now we need to satisfy this condition. Then only we can say phi is a homomorphism. Phi is a homomorphism if and only if this condition is satisfied. Okay. Please note down this binary operation. In left hand side we have a binary operation star, which is a binary operation for this group G, and in right hand side we have a binary operation dot. This dot is binary operation for this group G prime. So if I'll give you a relation between two groups, and then I will say just prove it that this relation is a homomorphism, then you have to just prove this condition. Okay, if there is a homomorphism exists between two groups, then these two groups are called homomorphic. Therefore what we can say, group G and G prime are homomorphic. Now we have idea about the group homomorphism. Let's see some important fact, or you can say some important property of this group homomorphism. What is that? The first one is, under a homomorphism from a group G to another group G prime, identity element of G will be mapped to identity element of G prime. What it means? If E is an identity element of the group G and E prime is identity element of the group G prime, then phi E must be E prime. Now how we can prove it? It is very easy. Let's start. We can write phi E as phi E star E. Why? Because E is identity element of the group G. Therefore E star E will be E. So just write phi E as phi E star E. Now from the condition of homomorphism, what we can write, phi E star E as phi E dot phi E. Here dot is binary operation for the group G prime. Now we know phi is an element of group G prime and E prime is identity element of group G prime. Therefore E prime dot phi E will be phi E. This is the property of identity element. Therefore for left hand side we can write E prime dot phi E is equals to phi E dot phi E. Now from right cancellation we can simply cancel out phi E and phi E from both sides, and we can write E prime is equals to phi E. Okay. Now the second property is, Under a homomorphism from a group G to another group G prime, inverse element of G will be mapped to inverse element of G prime. What it says? It says phi A inverse is equals to phi A inverse for all values of A inverse belongs to group G. That is, inverse element of group G will be mapped to inverse element of the group G prime. How we can prove it? We know A and A inverse lies in group G, then phi A and phi A inverse must be in the group G prime, okay, if there exists a homomorphism phi. Now we can simply write phi A dot phi A inverse is equals to phi A star A inverse. Here star is the binary operation for the group G and dot is the binary operation for the group G prime. And this relation we can write because G and G prime are homomorphic. Okay. What is A star A inverse? This is E, where E is the identity element of group G. We know if you multiply any element with its inverse, the resultant element will be identity element. Okay. This is the property of a group. We have just seen that phi E is nothing but E inverse. Therefore, the overall equation looks like phi A dot phi A inverse equals to identity element, and everything is belongs to group G prime. Therefore, this relation belongs to a group G prime. And what is the property of a group? If you multiply any element with its inverse element, the resultant element will be identity. From that property, we can easily write phi A inverse is equals to phi A inverse. Okay. We have just seen the definition of group homomorphism and we have seen the important facts related to it. Now we will understand this from examples. So first example is, for a group Z4 and a group Z2, if we define a relation phi A such that phi A will be mapped to 1 for A equals to 1 or minus 1, and this A and minus 1 belongs to group Z4, and this phi A will be mapped to minus 1 for A equals to I or minus I, and this I and minus I belongs to group Z4. This relation says that group 4 is mapped to group 2 via relation phi, and 1 will be mapped to 1, minus 1 will be mapped to 1, I and minus I will be mapped to minus 1. Okay. Here I am saying that phi is homomorphism. Okay. What we have to do to prove it? We have to just prove this relation phi A star B is equals to phi A dot phi B. Here star is binary operation for the group Z4 and dot is binary operation for the group Z2. We have seen this group Z4 and Z2 in the lecture of cyclic group, and there we have seen that Z4 and Z2 are group under multiplication. Therefore, what we can say that star and dot will be cross, that is multiplication. Therefore, what we have to prove now that phi A cross B is equals to phi A cross phi B for all values of A and B belongs to Z4. Let's prove this relation for any random value of A and B. We will take A equals to I and B equals to minus I. Now this relation will become phi I cross minus I is equals to phi I into phi minus I. What is I cross minus I? This is 1, because it will be minus I square and I square is minus 1. Therefore, I cross I is 1. Therefore, what we will have? Phi 1 is equals to, we know phi I is equals to minus 1, right? Because I is mapped to minus 1 in Z2 group. Therefore, phi minus I is minus 1. Phi I is also minus 1. Just substitute their values. Minus 1 cross minus 1. Again, phi 1 is equals to 1 because 1 of Z4 is mapped to 1 of Z2. Therefore, what we will have? 1 equals to 1. That is, this condition is true for A equals to I and B equals to minus I. In similar way, you can show that this condition holds for any random value of A and B. And that's how you can prove that phi is a homomorphism, which is defined by this between two groups Z2 and Z4. Let's see another example. For group n, here n is a group of natural number, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and so on. What we have seen in very first lecture, that set of all natural number is a group under multiplication. Okay, so for group n and group Z2, if you define a relation phi a such that phi a will be equals to 1, okay, for all odd a belongs to n. What it means, all the odd number which is belongings to your set n will be mapped to element 1 of the group Z2, and all the even number belongings to your set n will be mapped to minus 1 element of the Z2. Then phi will be a homomorphism. How we can prove it? We have to just prove the condition for the homomorphism, that is phi a star b is equals to phi a dot phi b. Here AB will be the element of group n. Now as I said that n is a group under multiplication, Z2 is also a group under multiplication, therefore both star and dot will be multiplication. Now we have to just prove this relation. And how we can do it? Just take any random value. Let's take a equals to 3 and b equals to 8. Substitute it. What we will have? Phi 3 cross 8 is equals to phi 3 cross phi 8. What is phi 3? Phi 3 is 1 because odd element is mapped to 1. Therefore phi 3 is 1. What is phi 8? Phi 8 is minus 1 because all the even element of group n is mapped to minus 1 element of the Z2. And what is 3 cross 8? It's 24. Therefore this equation becomes phi 24 is equals to 1 cross minus 1. And what is phi 24? Phi 24 is minus 1 because 24 is a even number and even number is mapped to minus 1. What we will have? Minus 1 equals to minus 1. In similar way, you can verify this condition for any combination of A and B. Now we will see another important concept which is called the kernel of a homomorphism. Okay, how we can define a kernel of a homomorphism? If phi is a homomorphism between a group G to another group G prime, then kernel of this homomorphism, that is kernel of this phi, is a subset of group G which contains all elements which are mapped to identity element of G prime. We denote this kernel of homomorphism by ker phi, and this is equals to a set. Okay, and this set is such that x is belongs to G as well as phi x will be equals to E prime. That is, all the x must be mapped to identity element of group G prime. Now let's understand it from a picture. Suppose we have a group G and there is a group G prime and there exists a homomorphism phi between these two groups. If E and E prime are the identity element of group G and group G prime respectively, then from the property of homomorphism we have seen that E will be mapped to E prime. Now suppose in group G there are other elements, okay, some random element like this, and these elements are such that all these elements is also mapped to E prime. That is a set within this group G, which means this set is a subset of group G. Okay, and all the element of this subset must be mapped to this E prime. Let's say any random element is x, then phi x must be E prime. If other element is y, then phi y must be E prime. So all the elements within this subset which are mapped to E prime, we will call that subset as a kernel of homomorphism. And you can easily show that this kernel of homomorphism is normal subgroup of this group G. Okay, first it has to be subgroup and then it will be a normal subgroup. In last lecture we have seen the concept of normal subgroup. A subgroup is a subset of group G which itself satisfies all the conditions to be a group. And the normal subgroup is if we satisfy certain conditions, left coset is equals to right coset for that subgroup, then that subgroup will be qualified for a normal subgroup. Okay, it is easy to show that ker phi, that is kernel of a homomorphism, is a normal subgroup of group G. Let's see the example. We will take same example. We have seen this example that phi is a homomorphism exists between this group N and group Z2. Okay. Now see, 1 is identity element of group Z2 that we know, and according to this relation, all the odd number belongs to group N is mapped to 1. Therefore, kernel of homomorphism is given by X, where X belongs to N and X is an odd number. That is, ker phi is nothing but a set containing all the odd numbers like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and so on. And you can easily verify that under a multiplication 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 dot 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 will satisfy condition for a group. And as this X belongs to N, therefore this ker phi is a subgroup of group N. And you can also verify that left coset and right coset is same for this ker phi set. Okay. Let's see another example. We have seen this example also for a homomorphism. Here the phi is a homomorphism between a group Z4 and Z2. What is the identity element of group Z2? 1. And we have seen that 1 and minus 1 belongs to group Z4 is mapped to 1. Therefore, kernel of homomorphism will be 1 and minus 1. Okay. If you have seen my last lecture on subgroup and normal subgroup, then you know that 1 and minus 1 is a subgroup of this group Z4 and it is a normal subgroup of Z4. Okay. So hope all this explanation makes sense to you. In next lecture, we will try to discuss about the isomorphism, which is the special case for the homomorphism. Okay. So see you in next lecture. Thank you.